Huh. Alright, I guess I should explain why there haven't been any game reviews for like a month. Before I get to that, this is Turok. I picked it up on GOG last month and I'm enjoying it. After a month of taking a break from games, this is a good wake-up kind of game. Maybe I should explain that. As I mentioned in my top 10 video, last year was pretty incredible. Between Witcher 3, Metal Gear Solid 5, Pillars, every other big RPG out last year, people were spoiled for choice. They're all great. I just want to get that out of the way because I have to say, I'm pretty sick of it. The problem isn't them, it's me. Well, for some games it's their problem, but most of the time it's me. And to explain that, I'm going to use a DBZ analogy. So last semester was my penultimate semester in college. It was my last hard semester, if you know what I'm saying. A lot of my classes were upper level, challenging, project-based classes. I also work at the student newspaper, and I work with this channel, so between 15 credits, a newspaper, and this channel, I have a lot of obligations. My brain basically had to enter Super Saiyan mode. If you've seen DBZ, you know how awesome that is. It's super powerful, it gets a lot of work done. And that was me last semester. With the exception of the Steam controller video, I'm pretty satisfied with just about everything I worked on in the last 6 months. Everything went super smoothly. Until the semester ended. And there's the downside of Super Saiyan mode. It completely wrecks your body afterward. Actually, in my case, it kind of ruined my brain, but hey, same principle. At first, when finals were over, I was super pumped. I was going to finally finish Knights of the Old Republic. I had tried Dark Souls earlier in the semester on a whim and totally got into it. I was pumped, and then my brain pooped out. RPGs are like a lot of my work in multimedia. I dearly love doing it, but it's really, really taxing. Once I finish an RPG, I'm pretty exhausted. You would be too if you just invented 50 hours in a single week or two. And after I finally got off Taurus and KOTOR, my brain just stopped. I can't explain it. I didn't want to touch my computer. I just wanted to sit and be a sloth for the whole break. I found really stupid shows to marathon like One Punch Man, which is awesome and funny, but still a pretty stupid show. I watched the new Star Wars like a gajillion times, and while I chuckled and laughed here and there, I wasn't really engaging my brain in anything. I guess some people would call it depression or burnout or whatever. I prefer to call it the my brain needed a break period. That included gaming for the most part. The game I played the most this break was actually the Jackbox Party Pack, and that was only because the rest of my family discovered it and roped me into it. Don't get me wrong, I did have fun, but games like Fibbage and Drawful aren't very brain-intensive. Well, they can be, but the less it is, the better. Aside from that, I hardly even touched my computer, aside from the Star Wars video or the Top 10 video. And the Top 10 video is just me regurgitating my thoughts about games throughout the year in easily digestible list form. List videos in general are just pretty much junk food in video form. They're pretty mediocre. Unless your list is like an hour long, you can't pack enough argument or justification for your choices in each entry. Everything people say in short list videos are just very general statements like, this game is awesome, or this game has a good story, or whatever. So that leads me into my next topic, which is going to make me sound like a hypocrite at first. If you watch my Rocket League commentary, you know that I have a pretty big project coming this year. It's not going to be ready to serve on YouTube for a while, but since I'm in the planning and writing stages, I'm just going to dispense with the surprises. I'm making a series of videos about my favorite games. It's going to be a top 10, but it's not going to be a single video. I feel like if a game is really one of my favorites, it deserves to be talked about in large scale. If I can't talk about why I love it for like 20 minutes, I don't know if it deserves to be one of the greats. Now, you could argue that some games have very simple reasons for being great that could be explained in a short matter, like, say, Tetris. Tetris is a simple, randomly generated puzzle game. It has very simple win and lose conditions. What makes it great is that it's easily accessible to everyone, but it has enough depth so that if you play it for long enough, you start to develop strategies and learn patterns. It's a little pond with the depth of the ocean. Bam! That's it. I came up with that in like 2 minutes. I could go into more detail and talk about how people often leave a huge corridor on the sides to easily get Tetrises, or about the context of the game's original release in the Soviet Union, but that's it, isn't it? It's a simple game that is good for simple reasons, and a lot of times that's what reviewing some games recently has been like for me. That's what this video is about, and I guess I could count this as my New Year's resolution. I want more in-depth videos, and I'd like to talk about games that are worth talking about. When Mario & Luigi Paper Jam comes out later this month, I want to give my perspective about how it compares to other Mario RPGs, because that's a subset of games that I personally grew up with. My opinion on that game, whether it turns out to be good or bad, is going to be more complex than just saying that it's good or bad. I wouldn't say that it would be a unique opinion, because I'm sure there are plenty of other channels on YouTube that love Mario RPGs, but it's still a valuable opinion to have. Part of what makes game critique important is that every critic is different. To me, Paper Mario was a landmark event in my childhood, but to another reviewer it may have just been a footnote at the end of the N64's lifespan. Those are two wildly different and important viewpoints for wildly different types of consumers. By expanding on what I'm already doing, I'm hoping to branch out and sort of find my own identity. That's an important step for any channel on YouTube, and I think I've established something of an identity, but I have more work to do in that regard. So, what this means for you is that you're going to get less videos. With my college schedule and project lineup, doing a weekly video is only going to be plausible if it's in its present really short form. And that's a form that doesn't leave me much time to finish games or really explore them, which really hampers my ability to judge them. Hopefully this means that I'm reviewing less remastered and bland stuff and more games that actually matter to me personally. That also means less new games. I want to finish KOTOR, and I want to finish Dark Souls on my own time, and I also have 10 of my favorite games that I'd like to play again as completely as possible before I get too far into that project. There are definitely new games this year that I'd like to cover, like The Last Guardian, or the new Fire Emblem, or Paper Jam as I mentioned earlier, but aside from the quote-unquote big ones, I'd like to put more time into actually playing and studying games rather than writing, editing, recording, producing, etc., etc. It'd be nice if I could, actually finish my college education and find a good, lasting multimedia career on top of all that. It'd be nice if that involves this channel, but honestly, I'm not counting on it. This is really, really nice as a hobby. I'll be perfectly fine if this is just a hobby for me. So, in a nutshell, what this means for you is that videos are going to take longer to make, but they'll probably be longer in duration and better in quality. I wouldn't count on seeing a new refrigerated review every Monday or Sunday or Friday or whatever anymore, but I'll still try to release videos somewhat often. The channel isn't dead, it's just changing a bit, so Knights of the Old Republic is coming soon. Stay classy, folks.